Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina episode. I have got a couple of special guests, but I especially have one that she ended up having to be with me today because I am selling my home and I had nobody to take her. And I was like, you know what? I've never had her on the set before. I'm going to bring her with me. So we're really doing some down home today here on the show because we have my one and only little fur baby, little Miss Sage. She has done really, really well so far. She is just getting used to everything. Like it's her, before the end of the day, she's going to be like she lives here or she owns it because that's just what she does. Anyways, folks, don't go anywhere. I've got a fun show coming up. I have somebody from the Frontier Spirit 1799, as well as it's been quite some time for the American Red Cross, someone coming on to just chat about the different services and things that they do around our communities. It's Down Home with Tina, and I'll be right back.
My name is Allie. I just became 14 years sober at the end of last month. Through the support of my family and friends, I got the courage to ask for help. And through treatment services and the recovery community, I was able to start my recovery journey. Now I get to work as a peer supporter and an addiction treatment navigator where I get to help the next sick and suffering. If you don't have family and friends that can support you right now, you can find those supports through treatment providers, the recovery community, and peer supporters like me. Every life matters, and your recovery is worth it.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have got a couple of special guests today. One is my little fur baby, Sage, and we are going to see how it goes. I was in a situation where she just had to come with me today, so we're going to have some fun, and we'll explain the irony of all of it. Because I've got Jeff Taylor with me. He is president of Frontier Players Association. It is a nonprofit organization. They put on a huge, really, really awesome event every year at Alley Park, one of the Lancaster City Parks and Rec parks over here on the, we would call it kind of like the south side of Lancaster. How are you, Jeff?
Doing extremely well. It's so fun to be here.
I'm so happy to have you and to talk about it. It's been, I know back in years back, I used to do radio, and it was with Mr. Tharp.
Yes.
We could talk for an hour and some. I mean, we would stay
easily.
over. Yes. He is just so great, and I love to hear that he is getting involved again, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's share with folks, what is the event Frontier Spirit 1799 all about?
Frontier Spirit 1799 was really part of a vision of Mark Howes. This is pretty close to, I think, our 45th year.
Wow.
Putting this production on. But Mark, who is our vice president, Mark Howes, just had this real passion and desire to share our history, the founding of our local area through creative means. So what he did was just started taking characters, our founders, and portraying them in a setting on a park. One thing led to the next, and here we are now, where we do this the last full weekend of every September. We have somewhere between 25 to 3,000 folks that'll come out on a weekend, and we just have a wonderful time. Staying true to the original vision of just portraying these historical figures and what it was like.
How do you get the actors that are portraying these figures?
We're a complete volunteer group, and what we have is people that have a real passion for history, and particularly local history, and they've got skills and abilities. We have artisans that can weave and make candles and all of these different things, and so they bring all their talents and their passions to the performance each year, and they really do a good job because of why they do it.
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the volunteers, and then
Yes.
we'll get into the actual what folks can expect in
Yes.
the village, and then on into the trail of the production.
Yes.
Of what you guys do.
Well, volunteers, we can always use them. Just even the day of the production, the second day of the production of the 2 day. Volunteers, they could be everything from completely behind the scenes,
Okay.
or they can have a role. They can be more active in a scene or in the village or that. It's really up to them on what they are comfortable with. But there's a place for everyone.
Right. What do you mean when you say behind the scenes? What is expected of a volunteer?
Like setting
Because
up.
some aren't all about being out in front of a crowd of
Exactly.
people.
Well, each year there's a village, a frontier village, that has all these tents and campfires and all these things going on. There's a good amount of work that goes into bringing all of that in, setting it up. That could be done like a Thursday and Friday, getting all of that ready. And then on the other end of things, once the production is over, then it's taking all of that down and putting it where it should go. So that's a good example of behind the scenes.
Is there food that is available that will be made on open fire? There's nothing like food open fire, so I have to ask that question.
I have got to tell you this. The one thing that some people just come here year after year for is beans. Our beans that are cooked out on a big old kettle on an open fire, they are second to none. They are delicious. So yes, there are other concessions, and fried bologna and all that wonderful stuff, but the beans.
All to purchase.
Yes. These things are you purchase. Otherwise, everything is completely without charge.
Right.
I mean, you come on, you don't pay anything. Donations are welcome,
That's-
but there's no charge. But for the concessions, yes.
What do the donations go for, Jeff, for folks who come out and they just go, oh, this is so wonderful, and they want to give something?
Well, we have a church service too. I'll mention this, kind of ties together nicely.
Sure.
On Sunday at 9 o'clock, each year we have a church service. We take an offering at that church service. We always then take the monies that are donated to us and then we give it to another organization. Last year was Maywood Mission in Lancaster. So the whole offering goes to that. Then the donations are used just to buy the products, the food and everything, the kinds of materials and things you need. That's what the donations go for otherwise.
As far as the production goes, can we talk a little bit about that? Where does that take place?
Yes, that is at Alley Park, and you've got really two main emphasis. You've got the village. As you come in, you'll see right as you cut the corner, and here's this entire beautiful area where you've got the sights and the sounds and the smells of 1799.
Right.
So you'll walk in there, you'll have an opportunity to experience the village. There's a lot of hands-on things, which is particularly fun for children. For example, there's an arrowhead hunt. They can go to dig through the sawdust and find their arrowhead. They have that arrowhead, then we have nice little pouches that they can put them in as a keepsake. We have scavenger hunts, and when they successfully complete that, they get this wonderful coloring book.
Nice.
So there's that. There's hawk throws.
That's
where
what I
they
say,
can
there's
do
hawk throws.
Yes. For the adults, there's a hawk throw. You stick that hawk right on in there. Supervised, well supervised.
Right,
But then for the little ones, we've got a little hawk area where you throw through this round circle. Got a little rubberized hawk to throw in, but they have fun with that. But what we really try to do is get everyone involved. When they walk around in the village, they can ask questions. The ones that are displaying and are exhibiting their arts and their crafts love to talk. We've got a blacksmith. He's over there, and he will explain and tell you what's going on, what he's making, and how he's doing it, what it'll be used for. So that's the village. Oh, and we have music. We have a marquee theater where there's regular, ongoing performances, period music, period showing clothing, all different types of things. And the second part of the production is the trail.
Yes.
You go down to a particular point and then you cross a timeline. And the one thing that I ask people, sometimes people say, well, what should I bring? This sounds a little bit funny, but the best thing you can bring to this event is your imagination.
Correct.
Because Tina, when you walk across that timeline and you're now in the 1700s, it's really an experience. You'll come then to scene after scene. There's scenes all throughout the trail, and each one portrays a character, something that was going on at that time that helps you to understand. And this year's theme, what we're doing, whether it's in the village or out on the trail, we're asking this question: what brings you here?
Right.
What brings you here? The people that braved the elements, that left what was home, that came to an unknown, completely unknown. There were reasons why they did that.
Right.
The reasons are as many as the people.
Yep.
And so what we're doing is we're giving the opportunity for those who come to see through the eyes of the ones that settled this area.
Right.
Why did they come? What was their passion? What was their reason? What were they looking for? What were they hoping for? What was their dream? And that's what they'll be answering all throughout the trail is, what brings you here? And it's different with each person.
I love it. I just love it. So they are going to portray different historical figures, as you
yes,
say.
that's correct.
So when they do this, what are they doing and what are they becoming as these actors are doing this? Because is it something that you have been working on for the last year, since last year's, or do they just bring their imagination and they just go with the flow? Or is there some kind of script?
There is a script is too,
Too formal?
It's not a script, but we've got a theme, we've got an idea, and our director allows for creativity then and how that is worked out. And as you go and you enjoy, you watch the crowd interacting, you see the things that hit a responsive chord. If you're one of the actors out there on the trail, then you'll emphasize that, maybe add this, and you kind of go at it as you go. But what I will say is there's a lot of research that's done by the individuals to know their characters.
Nice.
To know their background. So they know who it is that they're portraying. And then how they do that, it's going to fit again with how the crowd is responding and so forth. The key is that there be education. The key is that there be experience, both of which can come together for something they'll remember.
Kid friendly?
Oh gosh, yes. Yes, kids invited.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yes, and for them to interact.
And I had mentioned at the beginning of the segment, the irony is that, and I know that little Sage has jumped down, no dogs.
Right.
We have one on set, no dogs. We're using her as an example of what not to bring out
that
because
was
of the things that are going on, right?
That
yes,
is
as she
correct.
disappears.
Yes,
Like that,
yes.
yes, none. So the dates, the times, again, please,
Okay,
Jeff.
so it's September 23rd and 24th this
Okay.
year. It's always the last full weekend in September, and it's 10 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. On Sunday, there's a church service at 9.
Okay. Alrighty. Perfect. And it's free.
Yes.
Let's take donations.
Yes.
And that's the way to do it. And go out and have a fun time.
Oh, and
Jeff,
it is fun.
Oh, it is. And they are hilarious on the trail because I've done it. And it is a rough trail. Just keep that
Yes.
in mind. So you'll want to wear the appropriate footwear.
Yes.
For sure. Rain or shine?
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine. Be there.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
And
Jeff.
thank you.
Folks, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. It's Down Home with Tina.
Dagger Law has more than 110 years of experience in nearly every aspect of the law. When we're not just helping clients, we're helping the community. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and around town because we live and work here too. We are your neighbors, and we want to help you when you need it. When we help each other, we're stronger. Our community is stronger. Creating a strong, vibrant, healthy, and safe community is everyone's responsibility, and we take the responsibility seriously. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced.
The staff that have been here know what it takes. They've been on the other side. They see what it takes to make someone comfortable, to make the family comfortable, and really what kind of support they need. And so I think that's what really makes Fairhope what it is.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have Katie Ohl with me. She is the Executive Director of the American Red Cross of South Central Ohio. And it has been quite a few years. When I called them up earlier in the week, I was like, oh my goodness, it's been before the pandemic, and it was right before in 2020, like February, I think it was. Josh and I were talking about our Valentine's Day special, and I remember him and Matt. You said Katie,
Matt
is his
Riddle,
name?
yep.
Yep. And because it's been a minute, y'all, so yes, forgive me for not remembering. Anyways, but I do remember we did a bubblegum thing, but I won't put you through that. It was hilarious.
Okay.
It was, yes, it was like
I've heard he's a funny guy, so that would have
something.
been great for him.
I threw it at him and he went with it.
He went with it.
Fun.
Awesome.
So,
hey, that's what we do with the Red Cross. We just roll with it. It's fine.
Perfect segue. I was just going to say yes. Because it is. You have so many different things. I mean, you are there sometimes for the worst day of folks, the lives of folks. But you do so many different services. So, Katie, will you share with what some of those services are?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I like to ask people, raise your hand if you think about this when you think of the Red Cross, because everybody has a sort of different view in the way that those services have touched their lives because we are able to do so much. So, one of the things that comes to mind for a lot of people is our disaster, of course. So, you see something like Hawaii right now, of course, and we're there, so it's things like that. We have, of course, the other people will generally go, oh, blood donation, because blood saves lives. And we also have training services, CPR, AED, first aid, a whole gamut of things that we can do for training services. And then we also have what's called service to armed forces and international services. So those are probably maybe a little lesser known, but pretty much anybody who has been in the military is going to be familiar with the Red Cross and what we do as far as service to armed forces.
So when it comes to a disaster, what is it that volunteers can do to help out when it comes to that? Because, of course, donors and donating blood and things like that is different than maybe a donor of when it comes to a disaster?
Sure. So our volunteers in disaster capacities, they do a lot of different things. There's actually a bunch of different roles that can be played. So locally, we have what's called we do what's called disaster preparedness education. So we have people who will go into schools and talk to groups from littles, elementary, all the way up through adult to give preparedness education of what to do in order to be safe and prepared for a disaster. So how to make an emergency kit for your home, your car. What do you do if you're in your car and a tornado comes? Anything kind of thing like that. Those are the types of things that we can get out into the community and teach. And then we also do free smoke alarms installations. So a lot of people don't realize that. We do it by appointment. There's a 1-800 number. I forgot to write it down. But it is available on our website as well. You can go right on there and sign up for a smoke alarm or call us at the office. We can also give you that 1-800 number. But we'll just set an appointment. Our volunteers or some of our local fire departments actually partner with us to go into the home then and put in those free smoke alarms where they belong. And they're good for 10 years. So you don't have to mess with the battery or anything. You just test it each year, make sure it's working, and then you're good to go for 10 years.
And the reminder is usually typically when it's the daylight savings time.
Yep, and that's when you test them.
Test it to make sure that they're working. And
yeah,
that's not too far, I don't think, away from now.
Right, exactly.
So blood donor services. I mean, when is it that you are all needing folks to donate blood the most? Is there a crucial time for
Anytime.
that? Okay.
There is no more crucial time that is needed because it's needed every single day. There are patients in hospitals right now, today, this moment, receiving blood that was given a day or two ago, right? And that's how quickly that happens. So it's always a need. Summer in particular is rough. So we're coming towards the end of that summer season. Thankfully, people are getting back into their routines. Vacations are a little bit slowing down. Kids are getting back into school. So that should help bump those numbers. But it's been a kind of rough summer for us as far as blood donation goes. So if you can donate and you want to get out there, please do so.
Who qualifies to give blood?
There's a whole questionnaire when you go to donate blood, and it'll tell you whether or not you qualify. But pretty much anybody ages, I think it's 16, it might be 17 and older, as long as you don't have any of those deferments on that questionnaire, like certain medications, things like that, people know what they are. You can give blood, and there's no age limit. Sometimes older people think, oh, I'm too old now, or whatever, or have all these health problems. come and see. You know, there's no age limit to who can give blood.
And there are some blood types that are needed,
Very
always
much
needed,
so,
because there's universal
especially those
ones, yes.
universal donors. Absolutely.
Yeah, so definitely look into it. And you guys are everywhere. I mean, if you're not, I say everywhere all the time, different places all of the time,
Yes.
that you'll eventually be near somebody that is interested in giving
We
blood.
did over 600 blood drives this year.
Wow.
In our chapter, which is only 10 counties. So that's across 10 counties, we did 667 or something like that.
If somebody wants to do, because I know a couple of folks and young ladies that I've seen in school that they go give blood on behalf of or in honor
Yes,
of, not
you
memory,
can.
in honor of somebody, and they will set up those drives and have those, and
Yep.
people will promote those.
Absolutely.
They can do that, right?
Yes.
Anybody
if you're
can,
interested in
they-
hosting a blood drive,
Hosting,
let us
okay.
know.
Perfect.
Well, we call it, sponsoring, hosting.
Sponsoring, hosting,
Same thing.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then training services. You offer different kinds of training services. for
Absolutely.
folks.
Yeah. So you can go to redcross.org/take a class and put in your zip code and find a whole gamut of classes near you, whether they're in person or online. You can decide whether you would just want an online class or an in-person class. So it just varies. You know, I don't think you're going to get your CPR certification, of course, for work online, but you can get the basics of how to do it. And then you can also take those hands-on courses to then get certified if you need to for your employer, or if you just want to be able to potentially save a life.
Right. And other ways of then just giving blood.
Yes,
Things like that.
absolutely.
So I said South Central Ohio. What does that consist of?
Oh, it consists
lot.
of a lot. Yes. So we are in what's called the Central and Southern Ohio region of the Red Cross, and that is 47 counties. And then there are 5 chapters, which is what I'm in charge of, one of the chapters, which is South Central Ohio within that. So South Central has 10 counties. It includes Fairfield, of course, and then Pickaway, Hocking, Ross, Fayette, Vinton, Clinton, Adams, Athens, Highland, and I think, did I get everybody?
Oh, I didn't even look at all the
You didn't look.
That's-
She has the list. I think
should
that's
have
most of
looked
them.
on the
But
list.
yes.
Yes, that is a lot of folks that
It
you're
is.
covering for, because once again, it's for disaster. It's the
Disaster.
blood donations, it's
Yep.
trainings, and all of that. So how's it been so far? Because how long have you been in the job? Gotta ask
Just
that,
a little
'cause I
over
just-
6 months.
What's it been like so far?
So good. So
Yeah.
good. It's really, right after I started, we did something called Sound the Alarm, which is when we go canvass neighborhoods to put in the smoke alarms. So we actually knock door to door and
You
say, hey, you want
do?
free smoke alarms? And that was a huge mission moment for me, because getting to go into people's home, and I was the educator that day, right? So I had my little clipboard and I checked off, I got their information so that we can follow up with them in 10 years to replace the smoke alarm. But I also was telling them, hey, remember to not plug things into, extension cords and, stuff like that. So I was doing fire safety with them, and I mean, it was so great to be able to get out into the communities and do that, and know that we were making their home safer. So yeah, it's
And
been
I'm sure they appreciate it, because American Red Cross, it is a known name.
absolutely.
I mean, it is.
absolutely.
Everybody knows
Yeah,
who
and then
you all are.
and so that's from like a local standpoint, and then getting to interact with the volunteers here they're just so incredible. Yeah. So
A lot of volunteers.
yeah, we have in our chapter about 150 right now.
Yeah.
150
What
volunteers.
percentage
spread
of
out.
volunteers help you to run the organization?
90% of the
Yeah.
organization is run by volunteers. I'm the only paid staff in Fairfield County.
Really?
Yeah. I'm the only one who actually sits in the office here in Lancaster.
does.
So the rest is all volunteer based.
Really? What if somebody is interested in volunteering? Because it sounds like you probably have volunteer and positions for about any kind of.
We have
anything
tons
that
of
somebody's
positions.
wanting
Yeah,
to
I
do.
mean, whether people are wanting to stay local and do a disaster action team where they go out and they respond, say your neighbor had a fire. That's what they, that's what they do. They go out to the local disasters too, because that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like, they see the big national scale disasters happening. We do send volunteers to those that are trained to do that, mass care and sheltering and feeding and all those things that we do when we're on a disaster deployed, what we call being deployed. And Ohio sends a lot of volunteers out because we're not as high risk for
gotcha.
some of those things. So we
Right.
have the people, we have the manpower, and we send out to other places that get affected. And I have tons of volunteers who do that, and they love it, and that's all they do, and that's okay. But then we have volunteers who serve here in the local community as well with those disasters. So if you're wanting to volunteer, you can contact me. You can go to redcross.org and click on Become a Volunteer. There's an application process. It's pretty simple. And then, you know, they'll screen with you, you know, volunteer services will give you a call and say, what are you interested in doing? And what are your skills? And what are you know, and then if there's something you're interested in, you know, you can work at blood drives, you can be a disaster action team member.
Oh yeah.
You
can blood drives, you have the list and people
you can get trained to deploy to national disasters. You know, there's all kinds of options. So
oh, Katie, I think it's so wonderful with what you're doing and everything. So awesome. What is your social media? Do you have social media and the website and all that stuff?
We do. So it's regional social media. So you're going to look for Central and Southern Ohio.
Okay.
American Red Cross, Central and Southern Ohio. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay.
And then I believe we have a Instagram, but it would be under Buckeye Region.
Okay.
So that's the old name, and it just, you know, when it got switched over, right. So, and then we have our website is redcross.org. If you're very specifically interested in blood donation, you want to find a blood drive quickly, there's redcrossblood.org, but you can get to that either way. You can go to just redcross.org. And then,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank
good
you
luck
so
with everything.
much.
Just 6 months in, and I'm sure you'll be there for quite some time.
Yes.
Sounds like it's
I
a lot
don't
of fun.
see myself going anywhere anytime soon.
I love it. Katie, thanks so much for taking the time to stop in.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And she'll be back way before 3 years. I promise. Okay, folks, it's Down In with Tina, and I'll be back in just a minute.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, but with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. And you can change the outcome. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
Downhill with Tina is brought to you by these amazing sponsors. If you'd like to be one, just reach out to me. You can always send me a message on Facebook. My Facebook is Downhill with Tina. And also you can email me at downhillwithtina@gmail.com. With that being said, I mentioned my social media. Also, folks, you can watch it on CLN, Your Hometown Connection. For those who know folks who like YouTube, maybe a little more and better than the Facebook side of things, we have that. And then Spectrum 1021. Throughout the week, you'll get to see the show. So this is little Sagey. She's let me hold her for the last minute and a half. We'll see how long she lets me hold her. She's done pretty good for me today. She is a good puppy. I would recommend any day, if you are somebody that you like to travel, she does pretty good traveling with me. She will sit in the car on my shoulders. And some people would be like, she sits on your shoulders. Yeah, she sits right here. I'm surprised that she hasn't tried to do it during this show. I'm grateful that she hasn't tried to do it during this show, but I think she's just getting used to everything. We might even have her back sometime. She's a good dog. She's Maltese and Shih Tzu mix. She is vocal. She likes to tell me when she wants to eat, when she needs to go out, which is very important, and when she wants me to play with her. And sometimes it's all evening she wants me to play with her. But a good dog. Some people would think that she's yappy. I don't think she's yappy. I think that she just wants my attention sometimes. And she sometimes likes to lick. But I'll tell you, a lifesaver is she likes to have chewy sticks. Chewy sticks and puppy treats. And I want to ask her one more time, you want a puppy treat? Do you want a puppy treat? Huh? Folks, thanks so much for watching the Down In with Tina. You have a great week. God bless and good day.